Hello, beautiful souls. So I just finished making a video of sharing the lesson learned for today, and so I'm moving on to making the video for tomorrow to welcome even more miracles into our minds and into our lives and into our world. And so if you are interested in hearing about the correction/miracle that I received within me, then you can definitely take a look at, what did I call it? I called it a correction received in the mind or something like that. I can't even post the link at the bottom of this video. But either way, now we are getting to step into the law of giving, because lesson 335 is today's lesson, and we are recognizing that when I give, I receive. When I give innocence, I receive innocence. When I give the vision of sinlessness, I receive sinlessness. When I give the love of God, I receive the love of God. And so today's lesson is very practical in saying that I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. You know, this is an extension even from yesterday's. When yesterday's was, I claim forgiveness. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. And then today is, I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. It's the same thing. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. But what differentiates a little bit is now we are interlocked with vision. That when I look out onto my world, whether it be those that are in my family, whether it be those that are in my community, whether it be those that are at work or in my world, I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. And we can have this thought and let it be a practical thought that we carry with us in every single encounter, knowing that every single encounter can be a holy one. And the way in which it is a holy one is when we look out through our own holiness, see the holiness in another, and have it look back at us, because that's what we are looking for. And so it's the same thing here. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. My brother's sinlessness is his holiness. But if I see anything else but this, I'm not seeing truly, and therefore I won't see myself truly, and I obviously won't be happy. And so let's dive into the deeper understanding and meaning of what this lesson is, according to JC. Bring it on. Forgiveness is a choice. I never see my brother as he is, for that is far beyond perception. What I see in him is merely what I wish to see, because it stands for what I want to be the truth. It is to this alone that I respond. However much I seem to be impelled by outside happenings, I choose to see what I would look upon, and this I see, and only this. My brother's sinlessness shows me that I would look upon my own, and I will see it, having chosen to behold my brother in its holy light. I love how this works sometimes when I open my mouth to share before I even read the lesson, and it ties in the lesson with what I shared before. This is showing me that this is God's plan, and it is the voice for God that is speaking through me, and thus as I'm letting it speak through me, it is a gift I'm receiving back upon myself. And this is what we're learning here, that forgiveness is a choice. It is a choice. And we are remembering that I never see my brother as he is, for as he is far beyond perception. It is far beyond perception what we truly, truly are in God. And so we are realizing that what I see in him is merely what I wish to see, because it stands for what I want to be the truth. So we will see in our brothers what we want to be the truth, and not necessarily the truth itself. So if I want the truth to be that this guy is guilty, that this guy is a criminal, that this person's done something to me, that this person is an attacker and I'm a victim, or they're a victim and this person's an attacker, or whatever it may be, if I want to see that, if I want that to be the truth, that's what I'm going to see. And if that's what I see, then obviously that's what I want to see, because forgiveness is a choice. And forgiveness is that reinterpretation of how we saw it before. So if we saw them as an attacker, as still asleep, as whatever, as done something wrong, then we literally are wanting that to be how we see it. And so we can choose once again. And in that choosing once again, we choose forgiveness, and forgiveness reinterprets how we saw them and shows us that they are sinless, shows us that they are innocent, shows us that they are love as God created them to be. And we are realizing here that it is to this alone which I will respond. And what Jesus is meaning is that we will respond alone to how I see him. I'm not going to respond to the situations that happen. I'm going to respond to how I see him, because the cause is in my mind, the effect is in my experience. If I focus just on the little acts that happen in my experience, the little acts that happen in my life and in my world, then I am focusing on the form. But like I shared in my previous video where I received the correction, Holy Spirit focuses only on content and not the form. And the content is that we are sinless, is that we are innocent, is that we are children of God, equally and as one. And so it is this alone that I respond. I respond to how I see them, however much I seem to be impelled by outside happenings. So it doesn't matter how much I'm feeling that it's justified because of what's happening outside of myself, or that I'm supposed to feel this way because it's part of the process. If you know, not that you're not supposed to feel that way, but there's a correction for how you feel. You don't have to justify it to keep yourself there, but instead recognize that I'm responsible for what I see, and it is this alone that I respond, however much I seem to be impelled by outside happenings. Outside happenings are only happening the way they are based on my perception of it. So I can change my perception, because forgiveness is a choice. And so I choose to see what I would look upon, and this I see, and only this. So I choose to see what I would look upon, and we're declaring today that it is this, forgiveness, my brother's sinlessness that I see. Only this do I see, only my brother's sinlessness, only forgiveness. And that means the sinlessness of all mankind, all my brothers and sisters, not just one. But it happens first with one, and that's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. So whatever relationship seems to be the most trying, the most difficult, the most confusing, we can focus on that one to see their sinlessness. And in seeing their sinlessness of one Son of God, we will see it of all. And that's the beauty of miracles, is that they are all inclusive, that they are for everyone, even if it appears that it just happens between two people at first, just you and another at first. It expands from the vision once it's received in the mind. And so we see here that my brother's sinlessness shows me that I would look upon my own. So again, this is the law. When I want to know myself as sinless, I will begin to see my brother's sinlessness. But if I want to remain guilty, I will see my brother's guilt. Period. That's the way that it is. And so we are realizing that my brother's sinlessness is there because it is of God, and my brother's sinlessness shows me what I would look upon my own. So that's why we want to see it there, right? For them and for us together. And I will see it, Jesus affirms, and I will see it, having chosen to behold my brother in its holy light. When I choose forgiveness, when I choose to see my brother as sinless, we will see it. This is what the Holy Spirit is for. This is what A Course in Miracles is for, is to help us to come in contact with the Holy Spirit, to see truly, to have the vision of Christ. And the vision of Christ is the image of sinlessness in my brother. It is beyond their body and what they look like in form, but it is an inner vision. It is an inner vision that looks upon them in their holy light. And in seeing their holy light, boom, it shines back so beautifully to us that oftentimes it buckles us in gratitude and joy. Or at least that's what happens to me anyway. So let's conclude here in our prayer as we take this choice for seeing my brother as sinless here in my heart. What could restore your memory to me except to see my brother's sinlessness? His holiness reminds me that he was created one with me, and like myself. In him I find myself, and in your Son I find the memory of you as well. And I do feel that this prayer brings back the recognition that when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And what can restore the memory of God except to see my brother's sinlessness? That I look upon my world and at my brother and see him there. His holiness reminds me that I was created one with Him and with God. And in Him, I find myself. And in your Son, I find the memory of you as well. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. When I bear witness to holiness, the innocence in a brother, it's showing me my own. And this is what we are here to be for everyone, the vessel of innocent perfection as God created us. This isn't righteous or arrogant, it's the truth. It is arrogant of the ego to think that we are anything but this. And so when we realize that this is what we want, because this is the power that saves the world, we are more inclined to apply this lesson, because it is very, very, very practical. And in the application of this lesson, we do indeed experience it to the degree in which we want it. If we're not experiencing seeing my brothers as sinless, it's because we don't fully want it yet. But that's what our entire life is set up for, to bring us to the point of realizing that that's what I want more than anything in all the world. I will to see my brother sinless, that I may know my own sinlessness and wake up. We're here to wake up. Wake up and remember God. And we remember God by seeing God in each other. And so thank you all for being here as the mirrors of God's light and love to me. And no matter what happens, no matter what you think you've done, no matter what has happened, that innocence doesn't fade. That sinlessness does not fade. That perfection as God created you does not fade. Instead, it's that light that guides the communication and guides the helpful intent to an unraveling of what was, to the remembrance and acceptance of what is. And so I will this for all of us. As we affirm throughout our day, I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. And so it is. I love you, beautiful souls. Enjoy today's lesson. Bye.